This conference will now be recorded.
Right, let's start today's session. So in the last session of REST API, we were discuss about how to create API and how to test that API we were discuss. So that means we have written separate file like test.py file. In that file, we have written API link here. This link is going to working or not. We have checked clearly in the last session. And in today's session, we will discuss about more things related to REST API. Okay. So we did only serialization concept in the last session. That means here you can see this is the test.py. Test.py is a Python file. This Python file is communicating with this API. This is called API 127.0.0.1:8000/EMP. And this API link through, we are communicating with Django application. Directly it will go to EMP URL. In the URL section, what Weave is having URL EMP, this is. So it will go to EMP underscore all underscore details view only. So immediately it will go to view section, and this view is going to be written all the employee details from database. And this is model instance. Model instance is coming from database, and it will give to the parameter as a serializer object. And this serialized object will convert this serializer data into JSON format. We are rendering JSON data as a HTTP response only. So this is called serialization concept. Means we are getting the data from database like model instance. That model instance is converting into JSON format. JSON data is going to be, sorry, Python format. Python format converted into JSON. JSON only we are rendering finally here. This is serialization clearly. So as I said that, what is serialization here? So deserialization here. Deserializers can also done a deserialization also here. So now we can see serializers in Django REST framework are responsible for converting objects into data types understandable by front-end frameworks. Serializers also provides deserialization, allowing parsed data to be converted back into complex type after first validating the incoming request. So let me draw the diagrammatic representation so that you'll understand what exactly serialization and deserialization in this context. Now you can see this is first thing is serialization I'm taking. First thing I'm going to show you serialization. Serialization. This is serialization. Next I'm going to take deserialization. Deserialization. Serialization means what actually? We are taking complex type, means uh, object type, and this complex type is converted into Python types. Python types converted into JSON format. This is serialization. So complex type means model instances or query set object. So this is serialization. Whatever we did up to now, we did this only, sir. Only we converted complex type to Python type, complex type to Python type, and Python type converted into JSON type only. JSON data. Okay, JSON data. This is serialization. Now deserialization. Now we are going to do deserialization also. Means what actually? We are sending the data JSON format only. What format? JSON format. JSON data we are sending. This JSON data convert into Python data type. Finally, Python data type should be converted into complex type back again. So we are inserting the data now. In the last session, we retrieve the data from database. In that context, we did what? Complex type means database type only, like your model instance or query set object. This type is converted into Python type. Python type converted into JSON type. Now we are doing today deserialization. JSON type we are sending, and that is converted into what type actually? Python type. Python type and Python data type. Python data type is converted into what again? Complex data type, complex data or complex type also we can say that. So this is exactly deserialization, sir. Today we need to perform deserialization. So how to convert whatever we passing the JSON data to Python type to complex type only. This is called deserialization concept. So for deserialization purpose, there is a IO module is there. So IO module means input and output here. So IO module. So the IO module provides Python main facilities for dealing with various types of input and output actually. Python IO module allows us to manage the file related input and output operations. So stream is there. A stream is a basically sequence of data, means byte stream. Byte stream in the sense a stream is a basically sequence of data we can say, whereas data when whatever the data we use in our programming, it flows through the stream only. Stream is nothing but just process of converting a sequence of data only. A stream can be bytes IO is used for binary data only. So to convert your data into binary format first, JSON data will be converted into binary to Python type to complex type only. So bytes IO can be used the place of file object. So you have a function that expects a file object to write it into bytes IO only. So I will tell you in the example so that you'll understand. If I tell you in the description wise, you cannot understand. So here I'm going to use for deserialization purpose, bytes IO concept I'm using, stream concept I'm using, input and output module I'm using, IO module I'm using. Okay. And apart from this, so we are passing JSON data only. JSON data is completely open standard format data only. So JSON parser is required. What is JSON parser actually? So JSON parser, it parses the incoming request JSON content into Python content type. That is dictionary format. Python content type means dictionary format only. Okay. JSON parser, it parses the incoming request JSON content into Python content type, that is dictionary. So JSON parser parses JSON request content, and request data will be populated with dictionary of data only. So data parsing is the process of what actually taking data in one format and transforming it to another format. That is called JSON parser specialty. Taking data from one format like JSON format, process into converting into Python type to complex type. Today our lecture is completely deserialization. In the last session, we completed serialization, means how to communicate with the database. We bring the complex data type to Python type to finally JSON type. We are rendering data finally into JSON type only. If you try to execute in the last session program, now you can see last session application. I'm going to start the server first, Python space manage.py, run server. This is running server in one local window. But if you want to test your API, compulsory, we have written already test.py. No, this test.py, we have to execute this. How to execute this test.py, sir? You have to open new local window in the terminal. Then what is your application name? REST app 1. You have to move to that application. REST app 1 is moving. And after that, if you want to run this test.py, you can write test.py file here, so that we got this complete JSON format data or not, which is coming from database. This data is completely JSON data only. So whatever database is having records, how many records, all the records are coming because of through this API link only. This API is working fine because we are doing test.py file. We are testing the API also here. Last session we did this only, sir, here. Okay. So now in today's session, what we'll do, deserialization will do. That means what actually? So JSON data should convert into Python type to should convert into complex type. This is deserialization. How to do deserialization we'll do. But for this, I'm going to take what actually uh, same model. Let me go for serialization is there. Yeah, serialization. Let's go for other application for better understand. Okay, it will be clear. So that let's close to, we are closing this. Everything I'm going to close all the tabs here. So let's go for other application for better understanding. So to create a new application, you can go to terminal window, and now you can see I'm creating new application. So Python space manage.py start app rest app 2. This is my application 2, sir. Once I create a new application, now we can register this application into your settings.py. In the settings.py, you can see this REST app 1 is there, but REST app 2 I'm taking. But is this correct application which I'm loading in the previously what I used? Let's try to check in desktop. I think this is your project correct only. My REST project, yeah, correct only. Your project only correct. Yeah, it's okay. Your project only this is. Now REST app 2 is included into settings.py. Immediately we should go to what, sir? Actually, you have to go to models.py, sir. So in the REST app 2 only. In the REST app 2 models.py I'm including. But to save the time, I'm going to copy and paste this one of the model from REST app 1 only, so that I can clearly save the time. But let me change the model name from REST app 1 to REST app 2 here. So I'm changing model name here. You can see manager model I'm taking just for changing manager. Okay, manager model. So name, address, mail, age. Name, address, mail, and then age I'm taking now. This time age equals to models dot integer field I'm taking. This is about one model, sir. What model? Manager model. Where I created this model, sir? In the REST app 2 only. Okay, in the REST app 2. Let's go to admin.py file. So in the REST app 2 admin.py file I'm using. You know how to register admin.py file also. Let's copy this admin.py file code from other application and let's paste into here, sir. Because every time I need not to write the same code repeatedly for every application. That's not look good. So now I'm taking here from REST app 2 dot models import. What model I'm importing? Manager model. Here I'm giving manager model. This is just a registration for admin panel interface. Now you can see ID, name is there, address is there, mail is there, age is there. So this is the model creation is over. Administration file is also clearly open. Next, we can go to make migrations and migrate, and you can go to admin login. You know already super user like Mohan. So let me show you the record first. First, let's try to make migrations. Python space manage.py, make migrations. Now Python space manage.py, migrate. Python space manage.py, migrate like this. We are doing migration. After doing migrations, then we can run the server and go to admin panel. There we don't have any records actually. So we want to send the record from JSON data to Python type to complex type only. So Python space manage.py run server I'm taking here. Run server. Now we can see once I start hitting this, and I'm going to get admin panel I'm taking. Now here I'm going to log in as a Mohan because I have super user account. So login. Now observe here your application name is REST app 2, and now you can see manager stable is there. They don't have any records. Okay, we need to insert the record from our JSON to Python type to complex type. Complex type means database records only. Now how to insert this data? How to parse this data? So now we have to go for serialization. Okay, so serializer is required. Serializer.py we have to create. How to create serializer.py? REST app 2. Right click on it and go to new. serializers.py Python file I have to create. So serializers.py file. So this is serializers.py file, sir. So now I'm trying to import REST framework serializer class. How to import, you know that. Previously we discussed already. REST underscore framework is by framework it is import serializers is there. Next from REST app2 is there. REST app2 dot models import manager model is there. Now let's class. I'm taking manager serializer here. This is my serializer class name. Manager serializer, which is inherited from serializers dot serializer. But look at it, I'm not using model serializer here. Okay. In my previous application, I use model serializer. Model serializer means directly you can mention the model name directly. But just for practice, we can use same serializer class only. If I use this serializer class, normal serializer class, and how many fields are there in the models, name, address, mail, age. So same fields we have to include into where actually in the serializers.py also here. So let's include no problem. Models dot not here serializer dot we have to use. So serializers dot char field max length equals to 20. Here instead of models we can use serializers dot char field, serializers dot char field, serializer dot integer field. That's all. This is what actually serializers dot py here. So manager serializer here, and we are trying to create a new instance. No, so new instance means we are doing insertion. So that means we are making new instance. So how to make new instance here? So in this serializer.py, there is a built-in method called create method. You can see this is create method. Create is there or not? So create is a built-in method. This method is used to create a new instance into database from this serializer class. So create of self, comma, validated underscore data is there. Two parameters are there, this create method. One is self is the first parameter, and second parameter is validated underscore data only. This validated data is going to be cross verify whether it is valid data or not. So finally I want to return, so manager model name objects means records. Then I want to create one record new instance. So star star underscore validated data only. Why this star star? Because you know in Python we already discussed star star KW args. One star indicates keyword, other star indicates arguments. So finally keyword arguments we can say that. So key means your field name. Value means whatever we enter the value. So that is value. So that values we have to supply to this manager model only. Who will supply? Serializer class will supply by using this create method only. So this is supplying the data here. Now finally, who will responsible to communicate with all these files? View only. So view logic is very important, sir. Let's go to view logic here. I'm trying to create a view logic now. So this is the main, sir. Actually, in the view only, we need to focus much more here. So I'm writing view logic more here. You can see this. So on the top of the view logic, first I'm trying to import IO model because input and output. So this is going to be take care of input and output values. So IO model I'm taking. Next from REST framework dot parsers import JSON parser is there. JSON parser. So JSON parser is responsible to parse the data from one format to another format. Means normal complex type to JSON format only. So this is JSON parser is available in the REST framework only. Next in the REST framework, you can see from REST framework dot renderers is there. Again JSON renderer is there. JSON render the data purpose. And finally, I'm going to create REST app2 dot what actually uh, what model uh, what serializer class is there. REST app2 dot serializers import. What is your serializer name? Manager serializer class is there. So manager serializer class also I'm taking. From Django dot http import http response also I'm taking. This is Django response. And now you can see this. We are going to insert the data. So when we are going to insert the data, that means we are posting the data. Posting the data means insert the data into database or create the data into database. That is posting the data purpose. In this context, we use CSRF token generally. But actually, in the Django point of view, we already discussed whenever we are going to post the data in HTML template, every post method, we use CSRF token actually. So, but in this context, we have to use CSRF token in the view section only. From which view through you are going to posting the data, that view we have to use CSRF underscore exemption. So why CSRF exemption? I'll tell you. From Django, first let me import the namespace from Django dot views dot decorators dot CSRF import CSRF exempt. So this CSRF underscore exempt we have to use it as a decorator to your view function only. So because in the view function we are writing post mechanism. Whenever we are trying to do post mechanism, then CSRF exemption through we are posting the data. So that's the reason we are using CSRF exemption for this. Let's create your view here, sir. How to create our view? Let's try to create function based view only. I'm creating. So DEF, I'm trying to use my view name create underscore manager. It's my view name create underscore manager. Let's create underscore manager is my view name. The request object is common because it is a function based view. Okay. So here I'm taking if request dot method equal to what's are actually post. If request dot method equal to post, then compulsory this view is required what CSRF exemption decorator. So at the rate of CSRF exempt decorator I'm using, sir. So now you can see it is activated. Why? Because we are posting the data. In Django point of view, when we post the data, CSRF token is required in the HTML, but we are not going to use HTML for posting the data. We are using Python file only. So for testing your API, there only we can post the data into JSON format. JSON will be converted into Python type convert into uh, complex type only. So we are posting the data. So this is required, sir. CSRF underscore exempt required. If request dot method equal to post, now you can see JSON data equals to request dot body. Means what? From the JSON body, whatever we are sending the data, that requested body data should be converted into JSON. This JSON data should be converted into binary format. That's there I'm going to store stream object. Stream is just a process of converting from one format to another format. There is IO module is there. IO module is having bytes IO function. Bytes IO function will collect this JSON data what we are sending in the test.py. That JSON data converted into binary format. Binary format will stored into stream object only. This stream data I have to parse into Python data type. So that's what I'm taking. My variable name is py underscore data equals to. So who is responsible to convert this stream data into Python type? So JSON parser method is there. JSON parser dot what actually parse method is there. Now you can see JSON parser parse. What data? Stream data I'm going to parse right now. Because I have stream data which is binary format only. So stream data is converted into Python data type. Who is going to be convert this? JSON parser will be parse this binary format into py underscore data only. This py data compulsory we need to convert into what complex type only, means query set object only. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So serializer is my object name equals to manager serializer is your class name. This py data I'm going to supply to what actually manager serializer. So how to supply data equals to py data only I'm taking. So this py data I'm assigning to my manager serializer class. This is serializer object. So this serializer object is actually this will be converted into what actually automatically this is right now a complex type only. This complex type will be checking actually whether it is converted or not. So this complex type will be stored into database only. So after validation, so we are checking that if serializer dot is valid method is there. This method is used to check whether it is correct format or not. If this method is written true, this serializer dot data should be stored into database only. So that's what here I'm taking serializer dot what method, save method only. So I want to store this result. So this result is what actually Python dictionary format. So I want to display this result into dictionary format again. So this is dictionary format. Dictionary is nothing but what actually key value pair. So I'm taking my key name is message, value is what data inserted into database I have to display. Data inserted into database. This is result. If serializer dot is valid, serializer dot save method result equals to message data is inserted into database. This is the case. When this result, okay, this result I have to return. So now what result I have to return? This is actually dictionary format. This Python data type is a dictionary format. But result I want to display to the end user or not. But end user can understand what? JSON format only. So I want to return this result again. Look at here, result JSON data only. JSON data equals to, so JSON, sorry, JSON renderer. A JSON renderer, why it is not coming? IntelliSense not coming, yeah. JSON renderer, yeah. JSON renderer dot render method of result. This result will be rendered into Python type to JSON type. This JSON type finally I want to display to the end user only. So that's what I'm taking here. HTTP response. Now here you can see HTTP response. What data? JSON data I'm sending, comma, content type we have to mention, sir, because content type equals to what type? Application slash JSON only, content type. So content type equals to application slash JSON. This is, so it is HTTP response. So JSON data we are sending. When it is, so JSON data return HTTP response. Here we have to use return, sir, actually. I forgot to return. Yes, return HTTP response. If serializer dot is valid only. If serializer dot is not valid, then we can go for else block also. Okay, we will make the what we can say, data is not what we can say, not properly inserted into database, like that also we can able to return, sir. This is no problem at all. So we can able to send the data, wrong data also, means, so errors, JSON dot errors I want to display. Now this time we can see if the valid data only there, it is going to be else part. Then if not valid, then we have to go to else part only. JSON render dot, here we have to use render dot serializer dot errors only here. Serializer dot errors. Error message I want to display. What errors are there? So this errors also I want to return as a HTTP response. So this is actually view logic, sir. Don't get confused, but look like lengthy code only. But slowly, whenever we go move forward daily, so code will be reduced because we will introduce most flexible REST API predefined classes. But this is not completely predefined code. We are doing manually everything. That's what the code is looking lengthy. But it's not a big deal to understand. It's a simple thing only. I'll explain you clearly. Just wait. Now I want to test this project. So how to test this project, whether record is inserted or not. So let's try to test this project. So test this API. So what we need to do first, we need to go to test.py. So test.py, we are getting data from serializer.py only. Serializer.py already there. We are passing JSON data. JSON data we are giving to serializer.py. Serializer.py is going to execute create method. It will take the values from the test.py. These values are going to be stored into manager model. So this all by doing B only. I'll explain step by step. Just wait. So we are ready to execute this create manager. Okay, create manager view. Now this view, how to test that, we will see this. But before this, we have to set the URL, sir. Okay, how to set the URL, we'll see this. So URLs are important, sir. So let's take the URLs from other application. So let's copy this REST app URLs and paste into your REST app to URLs. So you can able to modify that URLs. Okay, that's better. Now you can see urls.py. Now we are copying the URLs from other application, REST app 1. We are making REST app 2. Now this time you can see this. I'm going to set the URLs are for inserting. So how to set the URL? Just my URL name is create manager. I'm hitting. Then views dot. What is your view? Create manager is the view only. So look at here. Create underscore manager is my view name, which is coming from REST app 2. So in the view section only, create manager view is there. This URL we have to include into project level URLs also. What is your project? My REST project. Go to URLs, and here also I'm including your application URLs. REST app 1, first I'm including URLs. Next what I'm taking path. Here I'm taking REST app 2 slash include REST app 2 dot URLs, comma REST app 2 dot URLs. Okay, done. So our project level URLs is okay, sir. And application level URLs also okay, sir. Next, it's ready to execute this view, sir. So how to test this view is executing or not? We can have the test.py. You can see this, especially for every application we have a test.py. So test.py through we have to test our API whether it is working fine or not. So to test your API, so what we need to do here, you can see first import request. Look at here, import request, or else you can import request here also, no problem. Import request because we are sending the request. Import request. After that, import JSON because we are sending the JSON data only. So now URL I'm taking URL equals to URL how to get. So whenever we start the server, you will get URL no for this application. Now you can see I'm going to start the server. So this URL is going to display right now. What is the URL? http://127.0.0.1. So this is URL. Let's copy this, and in the URL link I'm taking here, this is copy the URL. So http://127.0.0.1:8000. Then what is your API resource name? That API resource name is create manager is API resource name slash. This is important, sir. This link is API link only. We are going to run finally test.py file only. For test this link is working or not. So now I want to send the data. So because we are giving input, what format actually? JSON format only. What fields are there? Actually name is there. According to this model, you can see this. What is that? Name, address, mail, age only. So name, address, mail, age only we have to supply. Name is a dictionary key. Mohan is the name. Okay, comma is required. Address is a dictionary key. Then HYD here. Either single code or double code. Anyways, you can use. Next, what actually mail is there? Mail colon. So what is the mail actually here? mohan@gmail.com. Okay, gmail.com. Now you can see this. Age I'm taking age. Then age should be integer format 38. So this is my JSON data, sir. This JSON data I'm sending to serializer.py. So how to send that? So you can see this. So JSON data equals to, okay, JSON is a library dot dumps method is there. dumps dumps method. This dumps method is sending the data. Okay, what data? This data I am passing. No, this data is going to be dumps JSON format. So now this here I'm creating request object or equals to request dot what actually post because we are posting the data. URL equals to what URL? URL already declared this URL. On top what URL I mentioned here, this URL only I'm passing to here, posting the request through this URL. What data you're passing? Which type of data? Data equal to JSON data only. This JSON data we are reading finally because whether record is inserted or not. Again, that is also format of JSON only. Our message, whatever we are reading, that is also JSON format. That JSON data finally we are printing. This data is actually result value, sir. Okay, so result value we are printing. Print data. So this is what test.py are. Now let's go and check out in the database admin panel. So REST application to managers table don't have any records right now. You can see we don't have any records, but still we are going to we are started the server already, and we are ready with running with the test.py, sir. Whenever we execute this test.py, this data will be stored into database as a complex type only. We are passing this data into JSON format. JSON format will be converted into Python type. Python type is converted into a complex type. This concept is what actually serialization, sorry, deserialization. So JSON data we are passing in the test.py. It will go to serializer.py. It will convert into what actually Python type. Python type will be converted into complex type only with serializers.py file. It will be stored them directly. So let's execute the application first. After that, we'll explain the flow. Now you can see we have started the server in one local window. If you want to test this API, so you can open the other window of the terminal, and you can move to your project under cd space rest app 2 only. This is the way to test your API. Now run your Python file only. Python space test.py, sir. Here we have to execute Python space test.py. Now you can see Python space test.py. There is an error, sir. So what is the error? We will look into that. I think, let me check this error. Error is there. We can solve the error actually. Okay, no, not an issue actually. This is the server is running perfect. In the test.py, there is an error. What error is there? I'll try to rectify, sir. Just wait a minute. Let me check. Everything is fine. Test.py. Give me 1 second. Import request, import JSON, URL equal to http colon / 127.0.0.1 colon 8000 create manager. Okay, fine. Then data equal to name, address, HOA, mail, age. Fine. Then JSON data equals to JSON dot dumps of data, R equals to request dot post of URL equal to JSON data. Data equal to R dot JSON print data only. Fine. Then this is okay. But let's start the test.py once. First, let's start the server here. Server started. Now here we have to move to your REST app 2. After that only we have to run this Python space test.py. Correct? Somewhere it is mistake, sir. Obviously, we have to rectify the issue. Where it is mistake, I'll find out. Create manager. Using the URL config defined in the code in order on. No, this is the actual data. Line number 9, models.py file. Please check the data. Somewhere we did mistake, but no problem. We'll try to figure out the issue. Test.py is okay. This is a no problem. JSON data, JSON dot terms of data are equal to request dot post Okay, fine. ఇక్కడ no problem at all. Models.py name, address, mail, age. Name, address, mail, age. Fine. Next, views.py. URL is also right. Project level URL is also right. Let's change the URL. Actually, we are hitting the REST step 2, so let's change the URL. I think this is expecting actually. URL name is there. That's what it is not moving well. So let's go to server here. Because this name we have not passed, no? That is the reason. Wait a minute. Now you can see restart the server. Now this time we can see this when we use plus symbol here. You can move to your CD space REST app 2 because we are working with REST app 2 only. And here we can run the test.py. Now we can see data inserted into database. Because we have not mentioned here REST app 2 only. Because if you mention REST app 2 in the URL section also, we have to use REST app 2 only. Okay, project level URL. So data inserted into database message is coming, sir, here. So this is what actually JSON format only. So why this is format, I'll tell you. This result is JSON format only here. Because result is coming from where? In the view section. In the view section, if form is serializer dot is valid, then message is data is inserted into database only. This result also should be rendered into JSON format. JSON data only I want to send as a strip response only. Finally, you can go back to database and refresh this managers. Now you can see we have inserted one record. Okay, so this is. Now, when the error will come, sir, if JSON dot errors means here you can see else part. If the method is serializer dot is valid method is not correct, if something wrong, then else part will execute. In the else part also serializer dot errors message will come. So when errors message will come in the sense whenever you do mistake in the test.py. Suppose in the test.py in the model case, max length of name is what 20 characters only. If I try to give max length of name is something like this, okay, Durga Soft Hyderabad. This is name is not correct actually. This name is too length actually. So according to model creation, your database field length is too length. So that's what in this case we will get notify that JSON errors only. But before that, test the project, you have to start the server, sir. Don't forget, you have to start the server. Then only after that you can test your project only. So testing purpose, we can go to other application, other window. Now this time you will get JSON errors only, sir. So name error is there. You can see JSON error. Ensure this field has no more than 20 characters like this. This is JSON response only errors. So I have written code like that only in the view section. If serializer.save method, this data is record message data inserted into database. If not, then we should go for what actually this is serializer.errors only here. So you can see there is no records are affected at all because the data is not well structured format only. So this is about deserialization concept only. Let me explain the flow once. Okay. So how the flow is going to be takes place exactly here. Let's close this all tabs. Let me explain the flow once. First, what we are doing, sir, we are starting the server, sir. Whenever we start the server and when we go for test.py. So test.py. First, we are going to test.py. So we are hitting the link only, sir. Here you can see we are hitting the link only. This link I am hitting on. In this link through, this is actually normal Python file or not? Yes, it is a Python file. So we are executing Python file by using this API. This API can communicate with the Django application. Django application is executing view and serializer that will be converted into completely complex type data type only. So we are passing our data into here. You can see what data we are passing actually. JSON data only. JSON data always in the form of dictionary only. This is JSON format. This data, now you can see JSON data. This data I'm going to dumps into JSON format data. We are passing data to the JSON data. We are passing to the request object only. This is request object using what method? Post method. So we are trying to post this record. What record? Dictionary record. This JSON data record I am posting. So this is R only, sir. It is posting only. Whenever we use this R method, URL will call. URL means what actually? This is only create manager. So now it's create manager. It will go. Where is the create manager? In this application only. What is your project? Directly project level URLs are there. Directly it will go to REST app to URLs only. And after that, it will go to REST app to URLs, application level URLs. Create manager is there. This create manager will execute this view only. In the view section, what is there? You can see this now. So whatever we pass the request data, that is post only. Post data means request dot method equal to post. And now you can see this data is JSON data only. Request dot body. This data is coming from body only. Body of what actually? Test.py file. This is called JSON body. This JSON body is going to be coming to here from the test.py. This JSON data will be converted into binary format, that is called stream object, who will convert that io.bytes io only. And this binary data we are converting back into Python data type. Who will convert that? JSON parser method will be convert into Python type. So finally we have the Python data type here. This is dictionary format. This data type I'm giving to my serializer object only, because manager serializer only will have the model serializer class. This serializer object will communicate with manager serializer with Python data type, and this serializer.py file will store that name, dictionary key, values. It will store here, and it will call the create method after validating. So whenever we call this create method means after validating only. If is serializer.is valid, then immediately serializer.save method. Save method means it will automatically create what this method only will create. So in this method, what is there? Manager.objects.create validate data only there. So key is there, that is 1 star indicates. Val is coming from where? This is value which is coming from test.py, like Mohan mail ID address, and that value will be returned to the object into database. This is complex type only. So finally, complex data type is rendered into database only. If the save method is correctly done, message data inserted into successfully. This may result also what format actually? Python format. You can see this dictionary format. This dictionary format I want to send into what format to the end user? JSON format only. Who will convert this? JSON renderer method will convert Python type to JSON type. This result also we are making into JSON type only in the end user window only. And if serializer dot is valid method, it's okay. If not, then we have to go to other result, that is error result I have to display only. So this is the way to handle the situation, how to store the data into database using uh, API, test API. This API is we are testing into test.py clearly. Even you can test the API separately by using test.py file, or else we can able to go for browsable API testing also there. In upcoming session, we'll discuss more methods like here only we are discussing post method, even delete method is there, put method is there, patch method is there, like partial update, full update. These all methods after discussing, then I'll introduce browsable API testing only. Browsable API testing means automatically no need to write any test.py file. You can write only browsable API, browser only we can able to test the API only. That is simple actually. So that's all for today. So deserialization concept. Deserialization means we can store the data from our application to database. Serialization means we can get the data from database to our application only. So serialization mechanism means from database complex type to we are converting Python type to JSON type we are displaying to the end user. Deserialization means we are passing JSON type to we are converting to Python type converting into complex type only. Finally, we are storing into complex type. In the demo sessions we discuss, complex type is nothing but query set object or model instances. That is complex type. Python type means you know that dictionary format only. JSON type also, which is located in square bracket with curly brackets, that is dictionary format also. So why JSON format we are using? Because in general, REST API is used to communicate with different applications. So any application open understandable format is what? JSON format only. That's what we are using JSON. So this is about today's lecture. So see you tomorrow on this same link only.